I'm out here on this beautiful day building some sunken Hügakultur beds, and we're out here in this hole now that we dug, and we're trying to get it down to about 3 feet. So you can see it's very rocky. So we're trying to separate all these rocks, and basically this is the subsoil that's been separated. It's very sandy, and we're gonna put logs in here and branches. There's some organic matter we have, some old grasses and old palm fronds we're gonna put in here. And once all that's in, we're basically gonna fill that in with this subsoil here. And that subsoil will go to about 1 foot high, 1.5 feet, and then whatever left of the organic topsoil that we have here, we're gonna put that on top and basically surround it with logs, something similar to what we have over here. Basically it'll be a log and rock wall, and basically it'll be a nice garden, and I'll show you the progress when we're done. Thank you. Hi, this is Steven with the Bakersfield Permaculture Club. We're here digging a hole with my friend Mike, and Marco was here earlier digging the hole with us. We've been digging it about 3 feet, 3.5 feet, so that we can build a sunken garden here. So we're gonna build a sunken garden so that it's gonna actually have a lot of benefits to the soil, and it's gonna make it really easy to grow things very abundantly with very little input and very little water, and all the water is going to be directed right to the garden, and we're going to bury all this mulch and logs, and I'll show you as soon as we start.
There were a lot of rocks in it, so it's really hard.
How big is the hole?
About 3.5 feet.
3.5 feet. Nice. Are you excited about the garden?
I think so.
Nice. Alright. Steven with the Bakersfield Permaculture Club. Here is our new sunken garden that took us a long time to dig because it was really rocky. Mike knows. He's the one that did a lot of the digging. So you can see how deep it is. It's about 3.5, 4 feet. And basically we're going to fill it in with the logs over there first. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these big logs and I'm going to try to keep them on the edges. So basically we're going to take these and we're going to fill all the edges with these wood, and then afterwards we're going to take the cut branches and we're going to put that on top, and then we're going to take some compost from the kitchen and we'll put on top of that, and then we'll add the subsoil and then the topsoil on top of that, and then it'll be our sunken garden at the end. It'll be a Hügakultur sunken garden, and basically it's gonna be so abundant, like we won't hardly even need to water it much. We won't have to do much to it. It's just basically gonna keep adding fertility to the soil. We're gonna mulch on top of that, maybe add some biochar, and after that this garden will last forever, and it'll create basically a food forest right here. So we're pretty excited to get this done, and we'll show you the rest of the steps. diversity the better. Some people say not to put some wood in there, but for me, I found that any kind of wood will decompose and really add to the mycelium layer to the ground and break down into really nutrient-rich soil over time that will support any kind of tree or plant we put in this hole. So basically we're just going to throw all this open. As much as we can. This is the bottom layer, and the roots are going to tap into this really spongy material that the trees are made out of and be able to get moisture from that. Usually via transfer from the mycelium networks that are breaking these down and connected, like basically through fibers, wicking fibers that are able to wick up the water from these logs that are stored every time we water. So we're just gonna throw them all in there, and then we'll try to put them on the edges afterwards. As I'm throwing them, I'm trying to put them on the edges. So we threw all the logs in, and basically the big ones that kind of ended up in the center, I like to move to the edges just in case you want to plant a fruit tree or something really deep. Something with really deep roots. It's really hard to dig through these hard logs. So, you know, the other stuff breaks down really quick. So basically, you know, this stuff takes a little longer. So I like to take it to the edges, basically. Just, you know, if it's really deep, I kind of leave it down there. But if it's not, I kind of like to put it on the edges, you know, as much as possible, so that the ground on the side is like all logs, Hügakultur logs, and then in the middle basically is going to be the soft branches that we're going to put in second after this. So basically we got the big log here, and even these, like, I don't mind putting them on the edges like that, kind of on their side basically. Over here, you can check it out. Can you walk? Basically just taking all this stuff and moving it to the edges because we want to keep a clear area in the middle, so if we dig really deep roots, we won't hit these logs that'll take a while to decompose, which is good because they'll be storing a lot of nutrients and water, and as the mycelium break them down, they're going to use them to help trade with plants for sugars. They'll get the sugars from the plants, and then all this stuff that they mine basically will go to the plants in exchange. So basically, as you can see, kind of cleared out most of the stuff. All right, now on to the next step. Yeah. All right, here we go. Now we're gonna move all these branches in the hole. You ready, Mike? Now we cut them up really good so that they fit in the hole and compress down really good so we don't have big air bubbles as the garden progresses. Got quite a bit, and this is all tree pruning from all the trees in this area. That needed to be pruned. basically we're putting in the green layer right now, which is pruned branches from all the trees over there. And this is gonna be really the second layer that's gonna go on top of the log. And we cut them up really good, basically, so that they would fit in nice and compact and there won't be a lot of air bubbles. And these things break down relatively fast. You would be surprised. I've dug up areas where I buried these, and within like a year or two, you barely find any of the branches left. So, here we go. Throw them in as quick as we can. And we have some bay in here, we have palm, we have some oak, we have basically pineapple guava. We have a little bit of everything right in this pile. It's all good, it's all going to break down into some really nutrient-rich mycelium food and plant food. Getting there, almost. Pile's getting smaller. We're almost to the end. Step on this too, so it's going to all get compacted down, and then put the soil on top of it after we're done. Alright, so now we've gotten all the green matter in there, all the prunings, all the tree prunings that we pruned earlier, and basically I'm going to step on it. At this point you want to be careful, you want to get the air pockets out, but you don't want to impale yourself in the process, because a lot of this is going to get compacted down pretty low. So I'm just going to try to step on it, get it all in the hole, and knock down the process. And then after we're done with this, we're going to put soil on top of it. So I'm going really slow because I don't want to hurt myself. You can hurt yourself in this process because the hole is very deep. Basically, I'm just trying to grab everything and make sure it's all in the hole. All the goodies. All this stuff back here. Get it all in there. Try to make sure you don't get any plastic in there as you're going through. You don't want any of that in your hole because that creates toxins, and you don't want to be eating toxins in your fresh organic food that you're going to be growing here. Last little bit for the hole. avocado tree. So our next step, we're gonna put our kitchen compost that we've been saving for a few weeks. Basically, we've been putting them in buckets and putting a little bit of wood chips over them to keep pests out of them and letting them decompose, and that's gonna be the last final step before we bury everything. At this point, I also put biochar at times if I have it, but I don't have it right now. So basically, we're just gonna end with the compost and then bury it with the subsoil. So as you can see, this is a bucket of compost that we saved a week or two ago, and we put some wood chips on it. No pests. Basically, it's been decomposing. It's a good thing you can't smell this because it does get stinky, but it's really going to help the ground a lot as we basically let this garden decompose into some really good soil. Whew, that does stink. Spread it around. Want to get it everywhere. It's good compost. Oh yeah. Smells lovely, doesn't it? A little bit over towards me. Right? Yeah. Nice. All right, so we're on our final step. We're gonna take our tools and we're gonna start adding the subsoil into the hole. And when we're done to the very little bit where it's still sunken down about 6 inches, we're gonna add the topsoil on top of that. We have a very little bit of topsoil. Wasn't the best soil, but we have a little bit. So, here we go. Get it in there. You see it's burying pretty quickly. We got a lot of soil to work with. All right. I'll get down there with the shovel. Start helping out too. Get this hole filled. Alright, it's a couple days later and we filled in all the holes with logs and the subsoil, and basically all we have to do now is surround the borders with logs, some of these big logs that we have, and then we're going to put the topsoil on top of that, and basically then the garden will be done. And we're almost there. It's going to look really nice. Finished the beds, we filled the holes in with logs and then soil, and then we added the logs around the beds, mulched on top. As you can see, the beds have been all fully complete and they're fully mulched and ready to plant. We got the one over here too. We got a nice path on all sides so we can reach in the beds on all sides, get to each area very easily so that we can basically have no problem gardening without compacting our soil, which is the number one enemy of a gardener, is compacted soil. So we decompacted everything, added lots of logs in there that is going to keep the soil decompacted as long as we don't step in the garden bed. So this is the finished product.